Head, dressed in clean clothing, awake and alert, voice clear but soft.
You didn't hear anything out of the ordinary, correct?
No.
You didn't see anything out of the ordinary, correct?
No.
Was sleeping right next to you, right?
Yes.
You didn't hear any distress at all, well, at any time while you were on that couch, right?
No.
You never heard say, what the are you doing in a tone like that, did you?
No.
You never heard her say, Gary, get the off of me, did you?
No.
You never heard her say, what are you doing? I'm on my period, did you?
No.
Didn't hear her say a thing.
No.
Let's bring in our think tank. Eklund, Mercy, Kirk Nurmi, Nima Romani with us. He's been successful before at trial. Kirk, what are your thoughts? It's been some time since his last case. The world around us has changed a little bit. What do you think? The jury, I don't think the jury knows his history. The jury doesn't know about the other accusations. They just know about what they heard inside this courtroom.
Right, and that's really going to be the biggest factor here, I think, because in a lot of states, a lot of areas, and obviously it was a coup for the defense to keep this stuff out, but evidence like this of modus operandi, of sexual aberration, things of that nature would be presented to the jury to give context to this, everything that's happening here, as opposed to merely the victim's testimony. And we saw the friend subjected to pretty rigorous cross-examination here. So, you know, my fear here, Vinny, is that this could result in an acquittal again, despite all these other allegations, because the jury doesn't know about it and because they're going off this particular testimony.
You know, Nima, many times it's a he said, she said, but this is she said, he said nothing. He exercised his constitutional right to remain silent. What are your thoughts here, Nima?
Well, yeah, and that's very different from what he did last time. Last time he took the stand, testified, and that resulted in his acquittal. So I think there's a couple of reasons. First, like Kirk said, the 2016 evidence, that's all been excluded. And the defense probably thinks, hey, if I take the stand, that may open the door. I may say something. So they're taking a very cautious approach, number one. And two, I think they did well enough on cross-examination, at least according to the defense theory of the case, that, hey, we can play this straight up. We can just argue reasonable doubt because we did a good job on cross. We beat up these witnesses. I mean, obviously not physically, but in the courtroom. There were some inconsistencies, and frankly, I wish that they had testified better because I agree with Kirk. I think the defense has the advantage here, and that's why he asserted his Fifth Amendment privilege.
Eklund, is it possible that an innocent man, a factually innocent man, could be accused by different women in different decades and in different states as well and be 100% innocent?
Well, if it was after the eligible bachelor list, first of all, I hate those lists, and I think that they should come, each person on those lists should come with a criminal history check, a credit check, and a psychosexual evaluation. I think that should be mandatory. But if it's after something as publicized, you can make that argument that, you know, you can make any argument. And the way that the defense just dissected every single bit of her testimony, it could be done.
All right, we shall see. Closing arguments tomorrow. Think Tank staying with us. Up next.
The accused mass murderer from Idaho wants to gag the families of the 4 University of Idaho students murdered last fall and prevent them from talking about the case. Will the judge sign an order preventing the families from exercising their First Amendment rights?
There was pounding on the door. Bang, bang, bang.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived, tonight, 10/9 Central on Court TV.
A Michigan daughter now facing a murder charge.
Megan Amirowitz is accused of throwing lye and water on her own father while he was sleeping.
The Sleeping Father murder trial. Live coverage begins Monday morning on Court TV.
if you're not a personable person and you give off weird vibes, yeah, you probably don't want nobody to actually see the truth, see who you are, and read you for how you behave. You can't hide the truth, man. I'm so tired of the secretive and all that stuff. I want this stuff to be out in the open. There's more than enough evidence for people to make a decision, and how can the truth contaminate anything?
How can the truth contaminate anything? What a statement. That's Kaylee Gonzalez's father, Steve, who spoke with Chanley Painter today. We played in the first hour a lot of the interview as she spent a day with him. He's talking about what the defense wants to do in the Idaho student's case, which is just gag everybody. Nobody's allowed to talk about the case. A case that may not happen for 2 to 3 years. Can't talk about it. Not just the parties, right? Like the people directly connected to the case who are parties to the case, but witnesses, family members, lawyers for family members. You get gagged, you get gagged, everybody gets gagged. That's what they want. I mean, we have a Constitution, we have a First Amendment, we have a freedom of speech that is the First Amendment for a reason. What is going on here? I mean, is it even possible that a judge would sign such an order? Let's bring in our think tank. Still with us, Eklund, Mercy, Kirk Nermi, Nima Rahmani. Nima, am I off base here? First of all, I think gag orders on their face are unconstitutional. My personal belief. My reading of the Constitution and the law, right? Number one. I understand sometimes when the parties to a litigation, okay? And maybe, even though I don't agree with it, the lawyers involved in the litigation. If you go anywhere past that, I have no doubt in my mind that it's unconstitutional. Witnesses, family members, victims, anyone else. I think this is outrageous. Your thoughts about gag orders?
Well, Vinny, I agree with you. But in this particular case, the witnesses, the victims may be witnesses at the penalty phase, right? We're talking about a likely death penalty case. They're going to have to come testify. And even though I don't like it, I'm hoping that we're going to have cameras in the courtroom and we can cover this trial. It's important. I mean, we saw that there weren't cameras in the Lori Vallow case. The Supreme Court has upheld these types of gag orders when it comes to witnesses, parties, and lawyers. So I do expect it to be upheld. And you're talking about a judge who's taken a very cautious approach in this case. Any kind of close calls have gone the defense's way because, as Eklund and Kirk can tell you, oftentimes in these death penalty cases, when you have a death penalty qualified panel, you're more likely to get a death sentence overturned on appeal than you are in actually convincing a jury not to return a recommendation for the death penalty. So what you're seeing is these lawyers who are good defense lawyers put up every roadblock possible, not because they think they're going to necessarily win, but to create potential appellate issues down the road. And I think that's what they're doing here, Vinny.
And here's why I disagree with gagging people, Eklund, Mercy, because it's all done to get everyone a fair trial, right? That's what they say. Well, show me some real evidence that you don't get a fair trial. Show me some evidence that you don't get a fair trial. Like, I've covered a lot of trials here at Court TV for quite some time. And cases like, I don't know, there was a guy who used to play football out in Los Angeles. There was a lot of pretrial publicity for that one. I think if you asked him if he got a fair trial, he might say, oh yeah, I think I got a fair trial, especially when they said not guilty at the end of it. There was a woman who had evidence of a child in the trunk of her car who said nothing to anyone with her child missing. And everyone believed she was guilty. Everything about the case was released pre-trial. And yet, somehow, some way, I think she probably thinks she got a fair trial, too, when the jury came back and said not guilty. Eklund, explain to me how on earth we can take away someone's First Amendment right to free speech in this illusion that someone's not going to get a fair trial.
I think that someone's First Amendment right that's not taken away, just delayed. So you can speak only after we have a verdict.
That's prior restraint.
Remember that he is innocent until proven otherwise. So
Fine,
that man
and
is
he
an
can get
innocent
up
man.
and tell the world that he's innocent.
And here's the issue.
As a
And I
matter of
understand
fact,
with the families,
he could sit down for an interview in the jail and sing a song if he wants to.
And the families can absolutely get their day in court. Until then, I go to therapy, talk to somebody if you want to get the truth out, or write it down in a journal, get your manuscript, get somebody to publish it. You do that. But to be even partly, if you mess the case up, if you say something out of the ordinary, you may hinder.
Don't we have jury selection?
The verdict that you're trying to get.
Don't we have what they call
the victims' families
in Texas voir dire or voir dire? Don't we get to question the prospective jurors? You know, have you heard anything?
Yeah,
have you seen anything? Where's the evidence that they don't get fair trials? I'm trying to figure that out.
I've seen it because we make them plead. When we see it coming, they go to plea.
The two highest profile cases in the history of the courtroom television network were both not guilty.
You only gave me 2. That's the problem. And one of them was a millionaire. You only gave me 2. So for the regular
one of them had a lawyer who never tried a murder case before and won. Yes. All right, Kirk, you've been very silent. You were in the middle of a case just like this, so that's why I saved you for last here. Go ahead.
I was enjoying the battle, Vinny, but let me go back to something Nima said before the dial got turned up here. You know, 50% of death sentences are overturned because of something that would happen at the sentencing phase of the case. That can be ineffective assistance of counsel, and it could also be the failure of the defendant to present a full case of mitigation. Now, I agree with you, gagging the families is very problematic and sounds distasteful. But ultimately, when we're talking about justice here, justice doesn't subsume to the First Amendment. Ultimately, the courts are here for the Sixth Amendment, not the First, right? So when we talk about that sentencing, if you have people out there, whether it's lawyers or witnesses or what have you, and this big kerfuffle comes out and people are prohibited or restricted, feel unsafe to testify at that mitigation phase, that death sentence is probably not going to be imposed under current law, and that really serves no one, Vinny. So, you know, reasonable restrictions up front.
3-1, 3-1 tonight. I get it. We're out of time right now, but we will continue this conversation absolutely, because up next.
In tonight's Tank Takes, a case of larceny, as a man is caught on video stealing a Captain Morgan statue. Tonight we're asking, is he a landlubber or a scallywag?
There was pounding on the door. Bang, bang, bang.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived. Next on Court TV.
Her boyfriend confronted him on the beach and shot him.
She had to be a part of it.
Did you kill Brent Poole?
Absolutely not.
Accomplice to Murder with Vanny Politan. All new episode, Sunday night, 8/7 Central. Only on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time for tonight's Tank Takes, where we take a look at the world of crime and justice. Some of the stories off the beaten path just a little bit. Eklund Mercy, Kirk Nermy, Nima Ronnie still with us tonight. You all ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Let's get to our first one. I call this one the Old Dealer. An 82-year-old man has been given one last warning to avoid jail after he's found guilty of dealing drugs. It's in Germany, okay? But he has 24 previous convictions. Eklund Mercy, who should get more chances? Young and upcoming criminals or old, near retirement and death criminals?
I think everyone should get a chance. I think that depending on what he's presented, what he's done with his life, what happened, what's his living situation. Let's,
24 previous convictions, that's his life's work.
Give an old person a chance. I mean, he's 80 years old. Let's see what happens.
All right, Eklund is a softie. Let's get to our next one, calling this one Irony on Two Wheels. A Florida biker had a sticker on the back of his bike that read, capable of evading high-speed pursuit, was arrested after he was incapable of evading police in a high-speed pursuit. He was flying down the highway, speeds of 110 miles per hour, charged with felony high-speed reckless fleeing and resisting arrest. Tell me, Nima, does he need a new sticker or maybe a new, faster motorcycle?
He does. To quote the late, great Iron Sheik who passed this week, this guy's a jabroni, a foolish person, and this could be used as evidence against him in any case.
All right, let's get to our final story tonight, calling this one larceny. In Charlotte, surveillance video has captured a man stealing a giant Captain Morgan statue. Take a look at this thief at work from a liquor store. It's 6 feet tall. It's worth about $3 grand. It was swiped by a man. But if you look in the passenger seat, you'll see he has a dog there. And I'm wondering, is that dog the accomplice? Oh, by the way, folks, speaking of accomplice, don't forget, you can watch my new show, Accomplice to Murder, Sunday night, 8 p.m. All new episodes every Sunday at 8, Accomplice to Murder. Back to the larceny. Is this guy a landlubber or a scallywag, Kirk?
Well, I'm certainly listening to your interview with that dog, Vinny. I'm really excited for that. But listen, the guy should have an inmate. The guy should have an inmate number. You know, I can't do a pirate voice, but he should have an inmate number. You take your dog and steal something that stupid. You're not going to hide it. What are you going to do? This is one of these crimes that all the judges and lawyers are going to be trying to keep a straight face when he takes his guilty plea. So put him behind bars, and hopefully the dog will find greener pastures.
Actually, we'll put him behind bars. Okay. Great job tonight, Eckler Mercy, Kirk Nurmi, Nima Romani. We'll see you again really soon. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right, before we go tonight, folks, we have a missing child. I'm going to show you her photo. This is Unique Revels. Unique is only 13 years old, missing out of Lancaster, Texas since June 4th. Please take a close look at her face. If you see Unique, pick up the phone, make the call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Lancaster Police Department. We have the number for you on the screen. Let's see if we can get Unique to a safe place tonight. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
He said, "You want to be set free? I'll set you free." And he pulled out a hatchet.
He was going to choke me to death. He means it. He's going to kill me.
You could just feel your skin's blistering. Everything is red. It's just red and it's burning. Everything's on fire.
And he started to chop. I started kicking and screaming, hoping someone would hear me. Back then, hitchhiking was a really big thing. So there were people everywhere with signs and, saying, "I'm going here, I'm going there." And I had a sign saying that I was going south. And a man pulled up in a blue van. There were two other people behind me.